Hello, this is Lisa Russick and Misty Lore with the podcast. We are all psychic, and guess what? It's Jennifer Love time for her Jennifer Love series on love. Jennifer, hello.
Hello.
Welcome back. Misty, would you like to ask Jennifer the ever eternally asked question on this podcast?
I would love to. Jennifer Love, do you think we're all psychic?
Yes, I do.
She still does. She still does.
Okay.
All right. So, listeners, this is a series we do with Jennifer Love. If you've listened before, you will know that. But if you haven't, and this is the first podcast you're landing on, Jennifer Love is absolutely wonderful at everything, explaining love, and teaching people how to do things with themselves, to love themselves more, to how to pick the right people for yourself, and how to all kinds of things. She's helped me immensely. And
yes.
And in this podcast, we discussed it before we started on Zoom recording, and we wanted to talk about, listeners, we think you'll relate to this if you listen to this podcast. If you're into energy work, into magic, into psychic, or you are practicing in any kind of energy healing or work field, and you're on the dating scene, how do you tell them when you first go out with them? What do you tell them? Maybe they don't know anything about this kind of stuff. What Jennifer Love, do you have any advice for how to approach this with different types of people or anything?
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Because, a lot of people, I'm sure, who listen to your podcast are on the woo-woo side. And I know that I am, and I definitely had this, I don't know, I don't want to say it's a problem, but it's definitely an interesting thing to talk about yourself when you're on a date. And I think that I had a hard time with it too when I first, was exploring my intuition and my angel studies. And because when I first started dating, I was actually still exploring, my intuition. And I want to say I was in the spiritual closet, right? I was still working my full-time corporate job. And so I was very much shy about telling people, my interest in angels and angel cards and energy work. And, and of course, the people that I was selecting to date, I didn't know their opinion on chakras and
or if they knew what they were,
right? So and every, crystals and everything. So it's definitely an interesting thing to bring up to people. But actually, I would suggest crystals are a good place to start, because a lot of people, crystals are kind of harmless because they are actually jewelry. So it's not really something that, it's kind of a weird thing. Yes, they have, a lot of mystical, sacred properties, but they are just also pretty shiny jewelry. So a nice way to bring it up is to kind of wear a piece of crystal jewelry, maybe that you're on a date or something. And then, if you're playing with it or your date is admiring it, you could go, oh yeah, I have this amethyst bracelet. And did you know that amethyst is actually, very calming, and it has, properties of, enhancing your intuition. Did you know that? And your date would be like, no, I didn't know that. How did you hear that? Where did you learn that? And that might be a nice introduction into what does your date know about it? Or they might, you could be actually surprised by what your date does know about intuition and crystal. Because I was actually surprised when I was on a date with somebody, and this is much further on in my journey, obviously. I was telling my date that I am a Reiki healer, I do Reiki, and he said back to me, oh yeah, I've had that before. And I was like, whoa, I would not think that a mortgage broker would have had a Reiki treatment, but he surprised me, right? So, it's interesting, you could float the idea without risking too much out there, I think, by sharing crystals. I think,
That's really a
because
good point. Yeah.
jewelry is kind of
Yeah.
safe, and then I know you don't want to put a whole lot out there, especially like on a first date, to be like, criticized or ridiculed, or you
If
know
you are, then that's the
Crazy.
last date for me.
exactly. No, exactly. And I understand that you definitely don't want to be with somebody who's like going to ridicule you for your spiritual beliefs. But I do understand people who don't want to like go out on a day and go, yeah, I believe in fairies and
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah.
so it
Unless
is
it
hard.
comes up. Fairies do come up.
Yeah, but it
Sometimes.
is hard to like, explore every spiritual belief you have, on the first date. And most people don't, even if you're, very Christian and you say, I believe in our Lord Savior Jesus Christ, people don't bust that out on the first date,
Right,
Or,
right.
it's
well,
not
some of
usually.
them do.
Well,
Some
I
people
guess
do. Sure.
I
Christian
totally agree with
dating
you on the
sites.
crystals and the Reiki, because I think that people are more comfortable with the Reiki and the healing process of the crystals. I think it's more like going to, let's just say, physical therapy or
Sure.
something like that. It's starting to feel like it's just something to help you. You know what I
Enhancements.
mean?
Yeah,
It's kind of
alternative medicine is big now. A lot of people
Yes.
go to
yeah,
acupuncture and
yeah.
acupressure and their chiropractor and stuff. So I don't think even like alternative methods of healing are that far out there in the culture anymore.
No,
And
I
so I
think that's
think,
perfect.
yeah, even spiritual beliefs are becoming more mainstream every
Yes,
day.
yes.
When I hear like even my chiropractor talking about chakras, it's like, wow,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the
yeah.
chiropractor I'm seeing is a holistic GP chiropractor. I go back to him in April, and he has a masseuse that does lymphatic flush. I met her in my Reiki class. She said to him, "I want to learn Reiki so I can give better massage," and he says, "Do it." He asks on his form that you fill out a million pieces of paperwork going to see
Hmm.
this guy, and he asks if you've received Reiki for it and acupuncture and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And that was just amazing to me, that this doctor is so open-minded that way. And his whole clinic is just everybody's happy.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
Everybody's
yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
So
So,
I was
yeah.
wondering though, like, what do you think? Like, what's good advice for someone who's a professional, like psychic reader, psychic? The psychic. Not the healing necessary, but that's what we do. But someone who hears that term, like if I were to go on a first date and someone
Mm,
maybe I've talked to him, I hope to God I've talked to him before because I don't like a blind date. But let's say I go on a
Right.
date with someone, I've talked to him a few times, and I have to say I'm a psychic reader,
yeah.
and I'd just be very curious to see how they respond. But I would have some hesitations about it, about how to present it. And I'd also have kind of a let's see what you do kind of feeling,
Right.
so it's a little bit of a test.
So throw it
And
out there.
it's also a curiosity to see where this person's at with, me being an individual independent woman
Yeah.
as well.
Not
I've
only that, you got to throw it out there to see if they agree with you. Because if they don't, then there won't be a
Um,
second.
I don't care if they
yeah.
don't agree with me as long as they're not asshole about it. I'm
I
not wanting
mean,
to make them believe what I believe, but I
Well,
just don't
yeah,
want to be,
saying if they think it's kooky, you're going to be like, well,
I'll lose interest.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll be like, sorry.
Well, Lisa, I'm like you. Like I would tend to float that before I go on the date. Like I'm
Good
usually
idea.
telling them, you know, this is who I am and this is what I do on the phone before we even agree to go out on a date, because I want to know, like, are you cool with me being an intuitive? This is my profession. I'm an independent businesswoman before we even go out, because if they can't handle me and my spirituality and what I do, it's a deal breaker right then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wouldn't even
there
go out
it
with
is.
you if
Yeah.
you don't, or if you're not cool with it. So, I'm
Yeah.
usually like explaining a lot on the phone even before we
Good
go out.
idea.
But, it is hard to explain on the phone, like exactly what is an angel intuitive, what
And
is
you
a psychic reading.
can't see
Yeah,
their
and you can't
eyes.
see. So
Yeah.
yeah, so actually on the last I want to say the last maybe 3 to 4 first dates I've been on, I will actually give the guy a reading.
Oh, what a good idea.
So
That's a very good idea.
I don't bring like a tarot deck or anything with me, but I do have apps on my phone. So I will use the tarot app on my phone or the oracle card app on my phone, and I would actually do like a 3 card reading for the guy. And I would use like an angel card deck because I'm an angel intuitive, but you use what tarot deck or whatever you do.
What's
And
you-
I would give like just a general 3 card reading about I usually tend to do it about their personality
Yeah.
because I don't want it to be very like fortune tellery or like future prediction-y. So
Yeah.
I just say this is about your personality, and these are like 3 aspects of your personality, and I'll just describe like what comes up in the cards about their personality. I say, oh, I can
That's a good
tell you're
idea.
like a real outgoing go-getter type person because you've got the king of fire coming up here, and stuff like that. So like, so that's what I would do, and then show them the card, like on my phone, like, oh, see, you could see here
And they can
these.
take the picture and kind of look at it and
Yeah,
think about
yeah.
it. Yeah, I love
And
doing that.
so I would say like this is how I give a reading, this is what I do. There's not a whole lot of woo woo mysticism happening
It's
here.
helping
It's
people.
just
It's a
me
yeah,
talking and
a lot
showing
of
people the
therapy.
cards, and yeah, and I just use my intuition, and the cards are just kind of a kickstart to my intuition, and this is how it happens, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
And so like I try to make it as normal as possible because
Yeah.
it is normal.
It
It's
is
like
normal.
there's nothing
We're
weird
all
going
psychic.
on. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so it kind of like puts people at ease that, oh, it's not weird. It's very
Yeah.
down to
Something,
earth, and yeah.
something I
So
found too, it's just in general with people, not just dating, but people in general, when I explain what I do, it's like, oh, my brain just went.
well, and I kind of like, oh, hey, I just saved you $90. That's why I charge people.
I had a thought. It'll come back to me. Oh, I think I remember now. So, mediumship. How do you go
Yeah.
about that topic with people?
People ask me that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of mediumship. It's
But you
not my
communicate with
like,
angels,
yeah,
right?
it's not my bread and butter. Yeah, but I definitely have, and so I'll explain the difference to my date, the difference between talking to someone's guardian angel and talking to a spirit who's moved on. And I will say, sometimes when I'm reading for my clients, their father will come in to the reading and want to talk, and I can tell the difference in energy between talking to that person's angel and talking to that person's father or sibling.
Fathers.
Or yeah, like it feels different to me, so that's how I know it's a person that was on earth and passed versus an angel who's never been walking on the earth. The angel feels so much lighter and higher vibe. So yeah, I kind of explain the difference and what the difference in the channeling is. I said, but I sometimes I can like hear it in my ears. Sometimes it's just like thoughts that come in my head.
Yeah, that's how mine is. Claircognizance. It's just there.
And I try to explain what the difference in the clairs is. So
you're right. It really helps to explain terminology and what's going on as you explain these, like all the different aspects. The way you're doing it's perfect. I'd be all over the place probably.
Yeah,
Go listen to the podcast.
Well, yeah, and it just and that's how it is. It just kind of comes as it comes. If they're asking me about mediumship, then I'll explain, okay, well, yeah, the difference between mediumship and channeling angels, and then the difference between hearing something and claircognizance. And I'm mostly clairsentient, so I feel it in my body. And so then I'd have to explain the difference between the clairs. And so, yeah, you kind of like get a whole intuition 101 when you're trying to answer people's questions and explain it, And I think a lot of people respect that, and they'll kind of, respect your knowledge, and that, this is a profession. This isn't just like I put up a card table in the corner
I
of
just
my
tell
house,
them what they want to hear and take their money.
Yeah,
That's
is
what
like,
I'm afraid
it's
of.
serious,
Healing.
And I think, and healing, right? Yeah. And I, and because I specialize in love and relationships. That's what I tell people. That's, what I specialize in. And so I mostly, try to help people with their love life. And that's what they come to me for. And that's what I do. And, other psychics and intuitives have other specialties and some don't. Some are just very general, and that's fine too. It's just everybody does their own thing. Um,
Have
and
you
that's
ever
cool.
have you ever had any guy or any date, like anybody that you told before a date or anything in your life where you told them this and you said no after their response?
I said no, or they
Yeah,
said
you
no?
said no after their response to what you're explaining to them.
Um, no, I haven't rejected anyone after their response. I did have a guy, I could tell he did not like what I was saying, but it wasn't about the intuition stuff. It was about the pole dancing.
Jealous much? He didn't want you to be empowered.
Yeah, he did not like that at all, and I could just tell like his whole like body and demeanor change. This was like, oh my gosh, like 7 years ago. It was a really long time ago. But yeah, I remember like after I told him, he was just like completely disgusted.
And
And
listeners, if you don't know about Jennifer Love's
oh
pole
yeah.
dancing, she's referring to her body movement class where she teaches women
Right.
to, explore their bodies and their sexuality by pole dancing. So I want
Right.
to go to
So
that, but it's in LA.
I teach a sensual movement class every Saturday. So I'm a pole fitness instructor and I practice it. I've been practicing it for 7 years. But yeah, it was just so interesting how he was really not turned on by that, because most men are really turned on by it,
He
which
doesn't
is
like an empowered woman,
odd.
is what it sounds like.
Right, right. So we were obviously very mismatched, which is
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, but I've never been had anyone really turned off by my spirituality. Oh,
Good.
actually, no, I take it back. I was dating a guy for like 3 or 4 dates. And then after like a month, he called me to tell me that he said, I don't think I can handle what it is that you do for a living. And I was like, after a month, like, this is now what you're telling me. And he said, I just don't think I approve of you teaching tarot to my children. And I said, at what point did I ever say I was going to teach tarot to your children? I don't think I ever said that. Like, I don't think I would ever without, asking dad's permission or anything. I don't know. Like, I don't think I
Never
ever
even occurred
said
to you,
that.
right?
Yeah, it never occurred to me. But like the fact that he was not happy or didn't approve of that, that was a big red flag anyway. But yeah, he just did not, something about the tarot cards. It was just
It's
like
weird. Tarot cards people
repulsive to
have,
him.
they have a weird, some people have
Scared. He was
boundaries
scared of
around
it.
that, scared of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it was probably good that we didn't
Yeah.
continue our
Definitely.
relationship. But it was very strange how he had a lot of fear around that in regards to his children, which of course I never met the children
Well, it
that
kind of makes me
soon.
wonder if
It
when
was
he
odd.
was a kid, maybe something happened around, a bad psychic or something,
Yeah, yeah. But that's the only like spirituality
Yeah.
kind of thing I can remember, that
Well, you've been lucky, and it's good
someone didn't
times.
want to
These
date
are good
me.
times for this. Yeah. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Misty, do you have any questions for Jennifer about this?
No, I'm good. I'm just
You have
listening.
no questions? Well, give homework or something.
I think that she had great ideas,
My
about
dating
Yeah, I do
life
too.
has just been such a roller coaster, adventure, excitement. I have so many
no,
dating stories.
no, I'm just
you have anything you
listening.
want to
I'm
add,
having fun
Misty, or
listening.
do you have anything you want to add? Homework or ideas, or are you just sitting
I
pretty? Because
want to
you look
know. I
pretty.
want to know. Like, I wanted to know what app that you were using when you're talking about um doing the tarot reading at the table.
Oh, that particular time I was using Kyle Gray's Angels and Ancestors, because
Do you
that's the
still
one.
use that one?
That's, oh yeah, that's the one I like to use for personality
That's really cool.
readings.
I might get
Angels
one
and,
of his.
Angels and Ancestors oracle cards.
Ooh,
Okay.
I've seen those. I've seen those. Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to look that up right now.
Yeah, I love that deck. It's a great
And
deck.
your homework.
Well,
I'm a big Kyle Gray groupie, of course, but
well, he taught you, right? Isn't he your teacher?
Yes, he's my mentor.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Mentor.
Yes.
One of many, I'm sure that I feel like you've got a lot of angels there all around you, always mentoring you too, when you ask them to.
Yeah.
But I'd like to thank our sponsor, Everclear, who they are angels. Everclear.com. This is an advice app where you can get advice from psychics and empaths. You can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve on Everclear.com. Jennifer Love and I are both advisors on there. And you can find it as an app or on the web, the www World Wide Webs, everclear.com. And lastly, I guess, if I have any advice on this, me personally, I think honesty is the best policy because you get to the truth faster, you know. But, you know, it's always good, like Jennifer's saying, to start slow and watch how you say it. And you know, because some people might, like, if I came on like a nightmare, I'm a psychic and I am reading your mind, which I would never do because I can't read a mind. It gets a lot more complicated than that. But I mean, I wouldn't come on.
Scared of that too.
Yeah, like you're saying, a gentle approach is perfect. And I feel like if there's a big look in their eye that's like, oh no, then I will get a big message. If I get to it, like you said, on the phone first, or if I could see the person and tell them right away before the date, you know, something like that, it'd be much better for me to look at them and see their reaction. But listeners, thank you for listening. As always, we love you. And Jennifer, thank you so much. And Misty, thank you so much. And everybody, listeners, y'all have a great time wherever you are. And I hope that you will be encouraged to talk about your spirituality to anybody new and sexy who comes into your life. And thank you so much again, and have a great time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.